Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Man here. We've got a nice lighting here today, and that's why I wanted to get this video done, because right afterwards I need to head to the gym and get my session in. I've got here, by the way, one banana and a little bit of leftover from my lemon water. Lemon water as a breakfast. I tell you, it's amazing, so refreshing. If I would be a heavy coffee drinker, actually, I would substitute my coffee with lemon water. Try it out. And some sugars to keep my brain running during this video. By the way, it's gonna be probably a pretty long video. If we get close to the 30-minute mark, I will cut it off and make it simply a part 2, because 30 minutes is too long anyway already. So this is going to be another real talk episode, so we're gonna try to keep it as uncut and also authentic and honest as possible. Shouldn't eat banana probably while talking. And I'm going to make a follow-up video to one of my most criticized and most controversial videos that I did so far. And that was a video that I did a long time ago. I think it's over a year ago, and it was pretty much my opinion on weight loss back then, okay? And as you know, when you touch subjects which are important to a lot of people, then you always gonna get criticism, man. You're gonna polarize your audience. Some are gonna really like what you say, and some are gonna really hate what you say, okay? So you know that you've touched something important when you actually get a lot of dislikes. When you only get likes, it's like you're talking only about rainbows and unicorns all the time, but nothing really important, nothing really with some substance, okay? So that's what I actually want to do, man. I want to stay the real dude, be the real dude who can talk about. I don't aim for being the most liked or most popular person, okay? I just want to talk about real stuff, important stuff. So let's talk about this video. What my plan is actually, back then in the video I said I want to do a follow-up video explaining why these are my points of view on all these tips that I gave back then and these opinions that I stated back then. And somehow this got lost on the way. I don't know, this was a time when I wanted to do more nutrition related content, but at the same time I wanted to do more climbing related content. And I got really much into the climbing related content really quickly, and somehow forgot about this follow-up episode of this video. So that's what I'm trying to do now, okay? 1 year later almost. I hope you, thanks for your patience. So anyway, since this is a very, very complex topic and there are so many opinions of mine that I would like to state, I will very likely get off track at some point and lose myself in details. And if you are interested, in simply getting the whole picture, my whole opinion on all these subjects, diet, health and weight loss, then I would highly recommend to check out my ebook. The link is in the description down below, where you can simply find my whole opinion on these subjects uncensored. And when I'm writing something, I have the time to think about how I want to say that so that I get the whole information in. If I do this in a video that is uncut like this, I very likely gonna miss something, I'm gonna forget something, okay? So it's not going to be as complete as this ebook. If you're really interested into the subject, I would highly recommend you to check it out. And it's also a nice way to support the channel in case this is something you'd like. Alright, so my plan is to go a little bit over the stuff that I stated in this video back then and give my kind of present opinion on the things that I mentioned, on the tips that I gave. And the second part is I want to go over the comments and see what is the most liked comment, the most upvoted comment, check out what the arguments are and trying to respond a little bit to that, okay? Because I haven't taken a look on this video in a long time, and a lot of comments have accumulated which are unanswered still, so I will try my best to cover a little bit of that stuff as well. Now, that's clear. Let's start, I would say. In the intro, by the way, I'm gonna link the video now here, if I didn't do it already, so that you can check it out. This is a follow-up to this episode, so it would be highly recommendable to check it out so that you know what I'm talking about. The first thing I criticized in the video already in the intro is the calories in, calories out approach to weight loss. And I do it by, depicting myself as a fat dude who's laying on the couch and watching TV and, giving this advice. You know what? Simply calories in, calories out, simple as that. Caloric deficit, that's what you want to do if you want to lose weight, period. There's nothing more to it really, okay? And this is something you get a lot, especially from the science-related guys, okay, who think everything is only numbers and it's only logic. And while it is true at the same time, it is not the whole truth to the subject, okay? And right afterwards, I jump into the quick fixes of weight loss. And the first and probably most powerful and most reliable quick fix you have in the weight loss, in the whole weight loss aspect, so to say, is cutting out salt. If you're cutting out salt from a diet, you can expect weight loss between 3 or 1 kilogram, okay, which is quite a lot, especially from a climber's perspective. And it depends, of course, on the individual. It depends, of course, also on how much salt you've eaten before you cut out your salt. And whether that's healthy or not, it's debatable, okay? From nowadays perspective, I wouldn't recommend cutting out salt forever from your diet, because we need some salts. Of course, we should ideally get them from whole plant foods and not from refined white table salt, okay? But we need some salts to, for example, to build up our stomach acid, okay? And stomach acid is actually something really important when you aim for clear and nice and good digestion. So yeah, cutting out salt, especially in the short term, if you want to have a quick fix, you're gonna lose a lot of water weight. I talked about this previously, also in the conditioning series, of course. When you want to condition yourself for a really hard ascent, you want to be as light as possible, but as fit as possible at the same time. Cutting out salt is the way to go. Start 3 days before you have the actual attempt, and you're gonna lose all that water weight, 3 to 5 days maybe. Through your kidneys. It's going out through your kidneys, the weight. It's wonderful, really. Okay, so anyway, first quick fix, stop eating salt. And the second quick fix is, that I mentioned in this video, is caloric deficit. And caloric deficit, what it does, it's pretty obvious. It sets your body into a survival mode. You put less calories into your body than you need. And this means your body has to live on certain energy storages which it has accumulated over the previous time in his body. So what's going to happen is, of course, you're going to use up your fat storage. You're going to use not only up your fat storage, but also your muscle storage. Your muscles are a form of energy storage as well. And not only are they a form of energy storage, but they also burn energy all the time. Just the upholding of muscle tissue actually costs the body a lot of energy. And if you're putting your body into a caloric deficit, you're going to essentially train the body to use less energy, okay? So what happens is the body is going to degrade muscles. Not only is this useful for the body because now it needs less energy, but also it can use the proteins to put them into another metabolic pathway, which is called gluconeogenesis, which converts kind of proteins to glucose, actually. It's interesting that this is glucose because the body likes carbohydrates a lot. It likes to burn carbohydrates as fuel for energy creation. So it's going to transform these proteins to glucose and feeds the brain, feeds the muscles that are still there, okay, with glucose. And so what you're going to do is basically, you use up all your storage and you also reduce all the things that cost you energy. You will shut down your brain a little bit, you will shut down your muscles a little bit, you reduce the muscle mass in total. So you're gonna be a little bit more tired, maybe a bit lethargic, It's kind of this fasting down, and you're gonna develop a lot of cravings, man. Everything that's eatable is going to smell so much more intense because the body kind of screams. It's an artificial kind of starvation, okay, that you put onto your body. So the resources are still there, but you're not allowing your body to get to it. So it's going to trick you. It's going to try to get you to this food. The smells are going to be insanely good. you're gonna smell all the stuff. It's all going to smell super good, okay? It's gonna, the saliva in your mouth, it's going to explode every time you walk past a snack bar or whatever. So all these things lead to one thing, namely, as soon as you stop your caloric deficit, you're gonna rebound. And this is essentially, all these things that I mentioned now is part of the so-called yo-yo effect, okay? You're not only is your body now needing less energy, okay, after your starvation period, because you have trained it to do so. The body is amazing, it adapts to everything. You be a runner, it gets better at running. You be a cyclist, you get better at cycling. You be a climber, you get better at climbing, okay? The body adapts to whatever you give him. You want to be a starvationer, you're gonna get good at starving. And what is a good starver? He needs less energy, okay? He needs less energy, and also the energy that he gets must be utilized 100%, okay? You will have really efficient digestion now, because you feed your body only so little calories that he thinks, okay, man, we have to get all the possible energy out of these calories. Yeah, that's possible. So you're gonna absorb everything really well, and yeah, all these things. When you get back to normal eating, you're gonna blow up, because you will all of a sudden be in a caloric, not deficit, but you're gonna have a positive balance, balance. Don't know how to say that in English really. You're gonna have a positive calorie balance at the end of your starvation period as soon as you get back to normal eating. So you're gonna rebound, and this is why caloric deficit is, in my opinion, not a sustainable way for weight loss. You can do it to get into the bikini shape when you want to look good for the summer and you expect to rebound in the winter where doesn't really matter a lot. Or you can do it if you want to be as light as possible for a limit project, okay? But you do not expect that the weight you lose through caloric deficit will stay off forever. So now I'm gonna actually need a bite of my banana. So after quickly discussing these two quick fixes, eating less salt and caloric deficit, I've said, okay, most of the people will probably want to keep their weight off, to have a sustainable form of weight loss. Now, this is something which obviously works only with lifestyle. You have to change your lifestyle as a whole if you want to bring your body sustainably in another shape, because your body is always a result of your lifestyle. Does that make sense? However you live, your body is going to adapt to it. For example, the way that I look now, it is a result of my lifestyle. It is a result of a lot of climbing recently, and my body would look differently if I would be a runner or if I would be sedentary completely, okay? So you have to, if you want to sustainably change your body into a certain direction, you have to adapt your lifestyle first and let your body adapt as a consequence to that. I'm starting to throw out 5 tips, okay, which should help people to get into control of their weight sustainably, on a sustainable basis. And these tips are, just let me repeat this here real quickly: stop eating fat, stop eating animal products, focus on carbohydrates, get oxygenized, and stay hydrated. So from a present perspective, from my point of view now, I would change these up a little bit. For example, my first advice is stop eating fat. I would change it up in reduce your fat intake. Now, this is something that got very much criticized in the comments actually, and the people, fat is very attractive. Fat is so attractive for a lot of people. And the reason for this is, from an evolutionary point of view, fat was very, very rare in our ancestral times, okay? When we were running around in the jungle, in the forest, or in the, it doesn't really matter if you take the jungle of the equator or the forests of the northern hemispheres of Europe, for example. Wherever you run around, you will hardly find something like an avocado or seeds or stuff like that. Okay, you can find it, but it's extremely elaborate to get into. It's extremely, fat is very rare, and we need fat to survive. So our body, I think what it did is it's ingrained a big instinct for fats, a big taste. I like the taste of fat, you know. It's ingrained in our brain. So we simply like to eat fat, and we know that fat is a very good. It's a very good taste. It increases the taste of a certain meal a lot if you add fat to the whole thing. From let's say it's a low fat, high carb rice with vegetables. Imagine you will add some olive oil or you add some butter to the stuff. Okay, the taste is going to explode. So people don't like to give up their fat. The reason though why I say fat is so detrimental for when it comes to weight loss, yeah, the fat you eat there is a saying that's called the fat you eat, the fat you wear. Let me take a sip from my lemon water here. So refreshing. I would not repeat this one. I would not say that's 100% true, but there is definitely something to it. The fat you eat, the fat you wear. For example, you can take a biopsy from your fat tissue. You can analyze the fats that you find there, and you can pretty much reconstruct what this person ate over the last couple of years, okay? You will find these fats, and it's the same with animals. When you have pigs, you know, greasing around, in pig fat, you can actually see what those pigs ate, okay? Before they got slaughtered, which is what pigs usually get, because they are pigs. So there is this special pig race in somewhere in Spain which have special forests, you know, where they only are able to live on these certain nuts which are lying around, you know, and they get a really good fat because all of these fats of the nuts get into the pig fat. And this is only possible because the fat you eat is the fat you wear, okay? Pigs are omnivores and we are omnivores as well. So if we eat if you eat fat, no matter what fat it is, it firstly gets stored and then over time it's getting burned. And the thing with fat is also it's a very lethargic nutrient, in my opinion. It's a lethargy-inducing nutrient. When you eat a lot of fat at once, you're gonna feel like boom, smashed, okay? You wanna lay down and digest this stuff firstly. The reason for that is that fat is very complicated to digest, okay? You have to get it out of your intestine firstly, then it goes into your lymph system, and in your lymph system it travels around. You know, the lymph system is not like the blood vessels, which are kind of fast flowing. It's a kind of fast flowing fluid. No, in the lymph we have slow flowing fluids, and it starts in the room between your cells, you know, and collects in larger and larger vessels until it at some point is going to enter the blood system at some point, which is roughly here, I think, as far as I remember. And then actually all the lymph stuff is going into your blood system. And all your fats, they cannot be absorbed through your intestinal walls directly into the blood system. That's not possible. The body firstly throws it into the lymph system where it travels around, and then after 1 day or so it goes into the blood system. So it's a very elaborative process, and in this process you have to create certain enzymes to make kind of droplets of these fats, you know, and transport proteins and stuff like that, you know, to deliver the fats to the right cells, to deliver the fats to the fat tissue storage and stuff like that, you know. Complicated stuff, lethargy-inducing stuff, okay, in my opinion. And in my experience, definitely. When I smash in a fat meal and go right to the training afterwards, training is going to be shit 95% of the time. This is a significant difference if I smash in my banana and apple smoothie in the morning, or if I smash in 3 avocados in the morning with some Brazil nuts or whatever, okay? Training is going to be shit in this case. So that's why I say stop eating fat, reduce your fat intake. Not only because the fat you eat is the fat you wear, but also it's lethargy inducing. And if it's lethargy inducing, you will be less likely to work out. And working out, moving your body outside in the fresh air is such an important factor when it comes to sustainable weight loss. I can't say this enough. People always criticize my nutrition aspects, but in fact I never promoted only nutrition. I always promote holistic lifestyle, okay? Not only the nutrition is important, but also what you do in addition to that. Do you move your body? Get outside, get oxygenized, get the oxygen in the carbs and fats. No matter what, it burns with the help of oxygen. If you want to lose fat, you will need quite a lot of oxygen into your system, because fat has so many unoxygenized C atoms and stuff like that. Now it's going into biochemistry. Anyway, I say from today's point of view, I would say reduce your fat intake and focus on the carbohydrates, which is actually advice number 3, which I gave in this past video. And I say that back then I said in a 90-5-5 ratio to a 80-10-10 ratio, which means 90% carbs, 90% carbs, 5% protein, 5% fat of your total calorie intake, to 80% carbs, 10% fat, 10% protein. From today's point of view, I would change this up a little bit. I would say maybe if you're an athlete, especially, you should go for 75% carbs, 15% protein, and 10% fat. And I would say it also changes a little bit if you're a female, If you're a female, you're gonna need more fat, probably. All right. I mean, I cannot speak from my own experience here, just from what I have observed in my lifetime so far on other females. And I can see that maybe a little bit more fat does not hurt the females, because they are also, when they want to obtain a healthy body, they just need more fat. They are composed of more fat than we males are. And guess what? The fat you eat is the fat you wear. So as a female, you will probably need to eat a little bit more fat to uphold this a little bit more fat onto your body. Simple as that. All right, so the second advice that I gave is stop eating animal products. Again, I would change this up a little bit in the direction to reduce your animal product intake. We are already 25 minutes in here. If we reach the 30-minute cap, I will cut this video and make a part 2 or part 3 of it. Okay, sorry, but that's a very elaborative topic to talk about. Stop eating animal products. Reduce your animal product intake. So why I say reduce your animal product intake? Animal products have a very significant anabolic effect. All right, when you and this has, of course, to do with the composition of their nutrients. We've got a lot of protein there, we've got a lot of fats there, and both protein and fats, and especially animal proteins, are very anabolic. So we've just talked about fats, the fat you eat is the fat you wear, roughly. So if you take in high fat content animal products, you will at some point carry this fat on your body. If you take in a lot of animal protein, it looks very much like your own protein, okay? It's very similar to our own protein, and it's digested so easily. It's so easily taken up because of that in our system. You see, now a lot of people will say, man, don't you know proteins get completely degraded in the stomach and stuff like that. Proteins get degraded in the stomach, it is true, and in the end it should not matter, right? Which kind of protein you eat, plant-based protein or animal-based protein. When it's getting fully degraded in the stomach, you simply end up with the same. But apparently that's not the case, okay? Some proteins do not get fully degraded, neither from plants nor from animal products. And in this case, because the animal products look so much similar to our own products, because we are animals as well, it's taken up very easily. Okay, it's entering our body very easily, and you can backtrace certain milk proteins, for example, in the blood. Okay, you can see that they are creating kind of antibodies and stuff like that, and interact with the immune system. This is all stuff which is actually quite worrying. But here we are walking on scientific grounds which are not very proven so far. All right. But it's interesting. You take the same is the fact with gluten. Okay, gluten is a plant-based protein from wheat, and guess what? People are have problems with gluten because it's not obviously getting degraded fully in their stomach. Some of this gluten makes it through. What I want to point out with all this stuff is that animal proteins are not the same as plant proteins. Okay, they interact differently with the body, and they interact in an anabolic way, in a strongly anabolic way. You're gonna gain mass. If you are a super big bodybuilder and want to, carry loads of muscles, tons of muscles around with you, well, guess what? You will have quite an advantage if you go on animal protein a lot, because it's very anabolic. It has a very anabolic effect. Whether that's healthy or not is debatable. In my opinion, it's not, very clearly. Yeah? But you will have other people say something different, as always in life. So if you want to become a lean machine, which is what you want to be, especially if you want to be a climber, for example, or if you want to be a runner, or if you want to be a cyclist, or all these endurance guys, or simply a climber. A lean machine, strong but lean, not carrying tons of muscles around with you. I would say reduce the animal product intake. It's also going to reduce your intake of saturated fats and cholesterol, which is something good as well. You're also going to reduce your intake of toxins and all kinds of degrading, rotting chemicals, rotting compounds, which are in there as well. Not mentioning all the heavy metals, which are especially present in fish nowadays, and all kinds of other hormonal stuff as well, which is especially present in milks and stuff like that. That's a whole other topic. Now we are going into the direction of veganism again, okay? But anyway, reduce your animal product intake. Also, I say this because if people hear the word vegan, they always say, I don't want to have nothing to do with that shit, okay? It's a crazy cult. Vegans are all crazy. Don't even tell me about it. I'm not gonna take their advice, okay? I'm gonna smash in even more animal products if I hear this word. So this is why I also moved back from the vegan word. I use it less often in case you recognized it. I always try to say plant-based, not necessarily vegan, and it's also not necessary to be 100% vegan to achieve these benefits, okay? As I said, it's only necessary to reduce your animal product intake to an amount of maybe 1 or 2 times a week or stuff like that. That's gonna be enough. That's gonna be enough for satisfying your cravings. It's going to be much better for your health. It's going to be much better for your wallet, because guess what? Animal products are pretty expensive because they are quite elaborative to produce, obviously. And yeah, it actually is a win-win situation for everybody, for the planet as well, of course, for the environment and stuff like that. So reduce your animal product intake. Second advice. Third advice, focus on carbohydrates. Now we are already 27 minutes into this video. I think I'm gonna cut it here, and I'm gonna make a part 2 of this response to my old video back then. Yeah, tell me what you think in the comments down below. Tell me also what kinds of things do you want to hear that I should elaborate more on when it comes, especially of these topics that are now mentioned. And yeah, be sure to check out this video so that you know what's coming up, and so that you can ask questions, what you want to know about these stuff that I said there. And if you want to have my complete, full, uncensored, whatever opinion with no time restriction, then check out my ebook. Link is in the description. It's also a cool way to support the channel if that's what you like. And I think that's it for this video. That's part 1. We're gonna check into part 2 with the topic of focus on carbohydrates next time. now I'm gonna head off to the gym to get my session in. And yeah, see you next time, guys. Bye.